Hello, happy Friday and welcome back to Football League World TV. We've got the betting show for you this morning where we're going to be looking at the top tips from the EFL games over the weekend and, of course, the FA Cup. I've got Ben Wignall and Billy Mulley joining me this morning. Ben, how are you getting on?
Yeah, all good, Alfie. Cheers. Not done a betting show for a while. Hopefully, my picks at the start of 2022 are a bit better than the ones I ended 2021 with.
Yeah, let's hope so. Billy, how are you?
Yeah, doing well, thank you. Looking forward to sort of a normal game week after a lot of games were cancelled over the Christmas period.
Absolutely. Right, we're streaming across Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter this morning. So anybody that wants to get involved in the comments, please do so. And before we start, just a reminder to please gamble responsibly. Right, we're going to kick things off with Ben and Billy's bankers. Ben, I'll come to you first. What's your banker this weekend?
Well, I've only been looking at League One and League Two games. Didn't know we were covering the FA Cup. Obviously, there's quite a lot of EFL action in those games. But I've gone for a League Two game. I've gone for Tranmere to beat Scunthorpe, and they're 7-10 with most bookmakers. Tranmere have won the last 5 and have kind of climbed up the League Two table quite quietly. And they're playing a team who are down there at the bottom of the table, but they've kind of picked up the form. Scunthorpe under Keith Hill recently, they drew 4 in a row and then beat Oldham, and last time out they lost to Carlisle. So I think they're a better team than they were a few months ago, but I still think Tranmere should just have enough to get by him. Obviously, they've won 5 in a row. They've beat some pretty decent teams, Bradford, Exeter, and Leyton Orient in that time. They've not lost since mid-November, and I think they should have enough to get themselves 3 points again. But I think you'll just assume that Scunthorpe might, part the bus, and it might be hard to break them down. But I just think they've got enough to do it in the end.
And what about you, Billy? What's your banker this weekend?
I really don't like doing this at all, but I'm going for my team Luton to beat Harrogate in the FA Cup 2-5. I see Ben's face there, and I'm a little bit like that as well because I hate having to choose my own team, but I think it's one that should really be coming in, putting sort of my impartial head on it. It should be one that should come in. We haven't played since the 11th of December, which I think will come as a good thing because Harrogate are in a similar position. Bit like a pre-season game where two teams haven't played for a while would have been contending with injuries and absentees. But I think Luton are in a strong place now. If the game would have taken place in normal circumstances, I would have expected a few sort of younger players within the Luton squad and players on the fringes to get a bit of game time. But sort of the nature of it is that we haven't played for so long that we're needing to get minutes into our sort of regular team. And I think that's why we'll play a strong side and should be able to beat Harrogate even before they embarked on this period of not playing too much. They were hit some bad form. I imagine that this is going to be too steep of a task for them. I think Luton having Luke Berry back in the side as well, back training, is going to be a big boost. And I can see a first team Luton, should that be the case, beating Harrogate quite comfortably.
2 safe bets there. Right, we're going to get into the Accas next. Ben, I'll come to you first again. Give us your ACCA for the weekend.
Well, obviously, me selecting only league games. I've had a bit of a skeleton, fixture list to work with. And I think a lot of these games are really hard to call. So to scramble an ACCA together, I've had to, do a lot of thinking about this one. I've got Tranmere on there, obviously, as my banker, and I'll stick with League Two at the minute. It is a fourfold, and the second team I've got is Northampton to beat Crawley. And to be fair, Crawley have won their last 2 on the spin, but I think it's a different challenge now going to a Northampton team who, before losing last week 5-2 to Swindon, which, on the face of it's not a great result, but Swindon are a decent team. They won 4 in a row, Northampton. Kind of quite effective what they do. They're quite direct, and they score from set pieces, and the home form in particular has been pretty good. So I think they'll have enough to get by John Yems and Crawley. And I've gone for 2 games in League Two. The first one, Ipswich away at Gillingham. Gillingham are in, pretty wretched form. They've not won for 9 league games. I've seen they brought a lad in from Norwich who's been scoring in the under-23s. It might give him a little bit of boost up front, but I think the Kieran McKenna effect at Ipswich should be carrying on this week. They beat Wickham in the last game, which is, no easy feat. They're a very solid yardstick in League One. And, the likes of James Norwood back, I think Ipswich have kind of got that added dynamism up front and, kind of another scoring threat, which should see them past teams like Gillingham, relatively easily. And my final team's also in League One, and it's the early kick-off, something that I don't particularly like doing on a Saturday, but I've gone for Sunderland to keep up their unbeaten form, and they are playing a Wickham side who I did say a decent yardstick in this league, but I just think the class that Sunderland is showing at the minute, they probably have a little bit too much for Wickham if they're on song. I know they've got a few injuries, Sunderland, but it's not stopped their unbeaten run right now. I just think that, the likes of Ross Stewart being in form and Dan Neil, I think if Sunderland are really firing tomorrow afternoon, they should have enough. So I've gone Sunderland, Ipswich, Northampton and Tranmere, and with Sky Bet, that pays 13.7 to 1.
Good stuff. Billy, talk us through your ACCA.
Not too much insight to add because it's quite similar to Ben's. Obviously, I started with my first pick, which was Luton. I've also got Tranmere to beat Scunthorpe. I think Tranmere, the way they're going at the moment, very difficult outfit to break down. I think all throughout the season they've been a difficult team to score past, but I think they're adding a few more goals now, and that's sort of the recipe for success in League Two at the moment, and that's why they're jumping up the league. Haven't conceded in their last 4 as well, and won every home game against teams outside the playoff positions this season. So it just shows their sort of dominance against the more average teams in the league at Prenton Park. So yeah, that seems to be one that could have been my banker. I was close to selecting that one too. Scunthorpe as well, 1 win in 9. They've not looked the best all season, and there doesn't seem to be much room for positivity at the moment. It seems to be continuing in that trend. And I think, they're sort of destined for a relegation battle as the season goes on. Also got Northampton to beat Crawley. Northampton winning 4 of the last 5 and won the last 5 at home, proving to be a very strong outfit at home this season. I think they're going to be one of the best equipped teams to challenge Forest Green's authority at the top of the division this season as well. And I think that will continue against the Crawley side who Ben said have improved slightly in recent weeks, but I don't think it's enough form to make them contenders for the playoffs. I think they'll sit comfortably in mid-table, but yeah, they should find it difficult to beat Northampton side who are very strong at the moment. Last one going into League One, I've gone for Oxford to beat Lincoln. Lincoln have been struggling all season after a brilliant campaign last time out. Key players returning from loans and moving on in general has meant that they've struggled to maintain any sort of form and have dived into the relegation zone as a result. Oxford had a show on them the other day. How I think the main key points that were took from that was that they've got a team that have been together for a while, and I think that's been key to their success in this division and key to them operating in the top 6 once again. They're also unbeaten in their last 6 away games, showing that they are a very difficult side, and even home advantage doesn't play much of a part in their away games at the moment. So yeah, I imagine those 4 teams could go on to seal victories. That's Tranmere, Northampton, Oxford and Luton at 9.19 to 1 with Bet365.
Very, very similar picks today so far. Let's see if we get anything different with the value bets. Ben, I'll come to you first again. What's your value bet for the weekend?
I thought this one was pretty big, all things considered. I've gone with Burton Albion at 19 to 10 generally. My way at Cheltenham. I know Cheltenham made quite a few signings early on in the January transfer window, and that might play a part in a little resurgence for them, but I think they've been in poor form generally, and Burton have won 3 of their last 5 games. I think two of them were against Crewe and Doncaster, lowly teams, and Cheltenham are kind of in that form where they need a win to kind of turn their season around, get it back up and running. But I just think Burton have a little bit too much firepower at the top end of the pitch, and it ties into one of my wildcard bets, which we'll talk about in a minute. But I just think, the likes of Kane Hemmings, Daniel Jebison, if they're fit and firing, then I think they will have a little bit too much for the Cheltenham defence. So 90-10, or they are away from home, Burton, that might be a little bit of a disadvantage, but I think they might have a little bit too much quality for Cheltenham and Michael Duff on the day. And
Billy, you've got an FA Cup tie as your value bet, haven't you?
Yeah. I think there seems to be quite a lot of value in the FA Cup. I think I've got Swansea to beat Southampton at 3-1. I think Swansea are a similar position to Luton, as I was saying before, that they've sort of slumped down the table because they haven't played too much over the Christmas period. They're a team full of talent, a team that can continue to progress and may even still trouble the playoff positions as the season goes on. The main factor here for me was that Southampton play in the league 3 days after this game, so I think they'll be prioritising league at the moment, considering that they could be dragged into the relegation race in the Premier League. So I think that Swansea will play a full strength team. It's an excellent opportunity to progress to the next round, earn some good cash for doing so. Southampton are in a position where they might take a gamble and play a first team and then have to play again. But I think, all things considered, Southampton may play a weaker side, a side that could still get the job done against a Swansea side mid-table in the Championship, but a side that could also be exposed to Swansea's threats and problems.
Absolutely. It's going to be interesting to see the type of side that Southampton put out this weekend. Right, last up, we're going to look at Ben and Billy's wildcard bets for the weekend. Ben, again, we'll start with you.
Well, I've gone with an anytime goal scorer at fourfold, and these normally don't put in for me, so hopefully this will be the 1 week it does, and they're all in form, attacking players. The first one's Ross Stewart for Sunderland against Wickham. He scored 5 goals in his last 5. He scored a hat-trick against Sheffield Wednesday. He's clearly, getting the service right now to put the ball in the back of the net. So I've got him as my first and my fourfold. Then I've got Scott Twine from MK Dons. They're playing Accrington Stanley away. I think, he's one of the best, ball strikers in the EFL from outside the box, and give him a chance, he's more than likely gonna put it away from distance. So I've got him on there. He scored 5 in his last 8. I mentioned before the Burton game will tie into this one. I've put Dan Jebison down for a goal against Cheltenham. He's got 4 in his last 6 in League One, and he's kind of finding his feet now after being in and out of the team under Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. So I've got him down for a goal. And finally, I've got Dom Telford for Newport. They're playing Salford this weekend. He's got 14 goals in his last 10. He's probably the most informed forward in the whole country. And if he's going to get a chance, he's probably going to take it. So I don't see why he can't continue his run. So those 4 scoring would pay out 54-1. Like I said, I don't have too much luck on these bets, but hopefully, because we're all in form, they can all carry on this weekend.
How much are you putting on that then, Ben?
Maybe a quid, maybe 2.
Good stuff. Billy, what about your wild card?
Yeah, I think I've hit the wild part in wild card here, because it does seem crazy, but there is some logic to where I'm going with this. But I've got Swindon to beat Man City, Mansfield to beat Borough, and Port Vale to beat Brentford 539-1. And the reason why I've gone for this is the Man City COVID outbreak. I think that could become a big part. I think Swindon are around 10-1 or 12-1. And if you think if integral players are missing and that sort of carries on, the spread keeps going, then you never know. It could be a under 23 side or even under 21s, under 18s that might get the chance to play for City, and you still expect them to have the quality over a League 2 side. But I think that at 10-12-1, where there is a big COVID outbreak at a club, I think that's definitely something to look into. Swindon are a side as well that have got that balance of experience, exciting players coming through the ranks as well. So I think they're a side with confidence and one of the better sides in the division. Another side that I feel that could challenge Forest Green at the top end of the division this season. Similar to Mansfield to beat Middlesbrough. Middlesbrough have been brilliant since Chris Wilder's taken over, but there appears to be a COVID issue again, which, you know, that could change the whole complexity of the tie. The secretive nature of when COVID cases do come out, you never know who actually has it. Is it integral players to the squad? Is it more fringe players? But the fact that it can continue spreading, that makes I think Mansfield were 8-1, so I think that makes that also a quite a valued one. If you think of Mansfield as well, they've been improving in League Two and could be one. Port Vale to beat Brentford as well. There's no COVID outbreak to justify my selection here, but they're a little bit like Southampton, where they do play quite soon after this match. They return to Premier League action quite soon. I don't think Brentford are as blessed as other Premier League squads with a massive squad. So I think that they may view this as an opportunity to rotate the squad, and at 539-1, you just never know.
Yeah, I tell you what, if that comes in for you, Billy, you know, you're going to be worth knowing, aren't you? And I think it's funny, really, that you mentioned Swindon v City, because I had a text this morning from one of my friends that just basically said they've definitely got to be worth a look at this weekend, Swindon. So if that comes in for you, Billy, then definitely you're round. Short and sweet this morning. That concludes this morning's betting show. Thanks to Ben and Billy for joining me, and thanks to anybody that's joined us across YouTube, Facebook and Twitter. Coming up later today on Football League World TV, we've got the weekend preview where George Douglas will be running through some EFL fixtures as well as the third round of the FA Cup. So make sure you tune in for that, and between now and then, take care.